I really like the face you were pulling when you froze then, and it was like, hello. It's funny. Sorry, hang on. Wait, I'll do it properly. Well, this is all going in, by the way. This is how we're going to introduce it now. Even this bit, this whole bit is going in. This is going. Here we go. Producer Paul, let's do it. Is that? Did you restart the music as well?
Restarted the music.
Here we go. Hello and welcome to another edition of your favourite podcast, Insane in the Membrane, with me, Rich Wilson, and this week I'm joined by the brilliant Clare Ferguson-Walker, and as you can see, it's already falling apart. I'm a professional, you know. I'm very professional.
Not professionals.
Professional, yes.
Can't even say the bloody word.
No, I can't even say the word. We were just... This is the thing. Some people, when... There's been a few people that have said, can I come on the pod? And I go, yeah, go on in. And no disrespect to them, some of them haven't had a lot. They haven't had a lot of chat, and you're like, okay, this is going to be a long one. Whereas you, it's like we had to catch up. No, we had to catch up with you. Go quick, fresh record.
That's the problem. It's going to be more a case of will you take a breather, love, and let someone else say something.
No, I'm happy for you to just chunter on. You just fill the gaps. Do what you need to do. Just fill it in. So we were talking about the internet and social media. Milking us
for our data.
Yeah, it's like when you go to a shop now and they say, "Do you want an electronic receipt?" And you're like, "I know what you're doing. I know what you're up to."
Yeah, we're aware of it, aren't we? All the trappings, and you can't talk to a person now either. If you notice this, you want to complain or report something. It's an AI chatbot, often called something nice like Cora. Just have a little chat with Cora. Hi, Cora. How are you today?
And then it says at the end, was this helpful? No, Cora.
No, Cora, it wasn't. And you can kind of go round in these catch-22s. Have a look at our website. And then the website says, have a chat with our AI bot. The AI bot says, have a look at our website. You think they've got me in some kind of perpetual loop here?
Yeah. And you go, is it me? Is it me? No. It can't be me, can it? It can't just be me.
No, and I'll tell you the worst ones ever are the flipping codes they send you to get back into something. Yeah, we're going to send you a code. We're going to, send you a text for a code to get back in. It'll be valid for the next 15 minutes, and they take about 16 minutes usually to come through.
Oh, yeah, or it comes through, so you come out of the website, and then you go to put it back in, and it goes, oh no, that code's invalid, and you go,
that's not valid anymore.
I fucking hate you. I hate you.
Oh no, I appear to have died of old age.
My laptop's now. I need a new laptop because this one's irrelevant.
Is it obsolete?
It's obsolete now. Been waiting for this so long, Cora. I need to update my fucking stuff. Yeah. Oh, it's just it. This is when we had old people when we were little, and you hear them talking. So, I don't get involved in all that. I don't get involved in all that.
People.
But this is how it starts.
I know, this is when you go,
when you go, I'm not going to fucking do that.
Yeah, when you're suddenly alienated from the ways of the young. And something else I realised the other day as well, when we were little, famous people were famous people, weren't they? We'd all heard of the same people. TV was TV, films were films. Now, people that that are famous to our generation, younger people haven't got a clue who they are, and vice versa. It's like, there's all this sectioning off of fame. It's quite interesting. It's quite weird. But terrifying. We're all floating off like icebergs into the abyss of nothingness. Am I still relevant?
Anyway, welcome to the show. What's the fucking point? Anyway, this has been Insane in the Membrane. But I think unless you're in a Marvel film, that seems to be like universally famous. Do you think that's the
crossover point? Do you think that's the hex point where old meets young? That's it. Marvel.
Yeah. If you know who Iron Man is, then you'll probably know this person.
That's probably true, isn't it? That's probably very true. Oh God, that's how I'm going to have to relate to my kids. Just get a part in a Marvel movie.
That's how you're going to have to do it. And then they'll find out about your poetry and your sculpture. Yeah. Who the fuck is this? Get off me! I'm in this now. I think what's happening is we're all, like you say, we're splintering off and we're finding our own audiences.
Yes.
So within certain bubbles, you're kind of like, you're known. But
yeah,
you're not
it's so true.
known. Yeah.
And the 6 of mine are really loyal.
Oh, there's one.
Yeah.
No, even he stopped his Patreon.
Yeah, thanks, Dad.
Yeah. I got a notification the other day. This guy that has been brilliant, and then he just came out. He went, "Yeah, he's cancelled it." I'm like, "Oh,
seriously?"
Yeah. Oh,
Bennett.
Sorry, mate. I mean, I get it. It's tough. Times are tough.
It is, love. It is tough. It is tough.
But how
Food ain't going to buy itself.
No. How are you finding everything? How are you finding everything?
In general, in life, it's a big question, isn't it? It genuinely depends on which aspect of my life I focus on. I mean, like yourself, I'm also a parent and juggling this kind of career that has multiple prongs. I've like Marmite, I have spread myself a tad thin in life. And I'm happy when I'm zoning out and doing one of the many things that I do. I think when I'm least contented is when I'm in this strange space where I'm not quite sure what I ought to be focusing on.
Yeah.
Which is often, I have to say, which is often flapping around like, oh, should I be writing new material? Should I be writing a poem? Should I be doing some art? Should I be cleaning the U-bend out? I just don't know. Yeah, I can be in that state often. And, sometimes there'll be a crisis in something and then you have no choice, do you?
Yeah.
You have to do it. But yeah, finding absolute discipline now and focusing on one thing is really challenging, especially in this age of total distraction. My God.
Everything. As you said, there's so many things to be done.
Yeah.
I'll get. It'll be the third or fourth email from the person going, "Can you just send the details for your show? The show goes on sale tomorrow. I just need the stuff." And you go, "Yeah, all right, yeah, I'll do it now." And then my wife Kate will come in and go, "Why is the toilet brush still in the toilet?" And I go, "Oh shit, I was cleaning the U-bend." And then I got this
nice call back there.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a professional, people. I see what you did.
Yeah.
There are any men out there who'd like to clean out my U-bend, and it's not a euphemism. I am available, also for radio.
There would be people that would probably actually love to come around and actually clean your actual U-bend.
There are. That is a thing.
There's something for everyone.
Thing. Yeah, no, life slaves. It's very much a thing.
Oh,
where
shit, really?
People, they get off on cleaning for you. And you might have to whip them a bit and tell them that they're useless and that no one's ever loved them. Fine, I don't have a problem with that.
Get on with it, John.
Get on with it. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I saw a TV program about that a few years ago. This extremely gorgeous Japanese lady had 3 life slaves and they literally did everything for her. It was amazing that she was even chewing her own food. Do you know what I mean? It was don't worry, I'll regurgitate it for you, my darling.
How lumpy would you like it? Would you like it smooth? Ugh. I think people...
I threw myself off.
Yeah. I like the fact that people are more open with these things now, but it has made me... It does, like I said, there's something for everyone. Everyone. Like, if you think it, someone's into it.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
that's very... I've been chatting a lot about these things and about liberty and language and the normalisation of discussing lots of things that probably not that long ago would have been considered extremely shameful and embarrassing. And yeah, it's I've got slightly mixed feelings about it. On the whole, live and let live. I'm glad that people can talk about everything. Slightly on the other hand, maybe bring back a little bit of shame.
Yeah, or just to be a bit more. Yeah. I'll just have a look around, see where you are. When we're having dinner. You don't need to tell me about your U-bend stuff.
Read the room. Read the room. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'm in West Wales, right? And so I am. I don't know. Maybe it's not just a West Walian thing. This could be all over the place. But I'm surrounded by very, very, very hippie-ish people who are often polyamorous, and they often want to tell you immediately that they're polyamorous. And there's definitely a little bit of a kind of, if you're not that way inclined, is that because there's some trauma there preventing you from being like that? You could pay £600 to come on this weekend and we could release that trauma for you.
Oh, yeah.
Often involving a large crystal shoved up a certain chakra.
How do you feel? Funnily enough, I feel more tense now you've done that.
Yeah, actually, I'm embarrassed. Is that okay?
Oh, that's really...
clearly a daddy issue, that embarrassment. We can work on that.
Yeah. No. I think it's you shoving a crystal up my backside. It's really opened my eyes. Literally opened my eyes. Wider than they should have been. And I don't think I want to be here anymore.
I don't even want to talk about my third eye. What the hell's that doing?
God knows. Where are you going with that, Crystal? I don't think so.
Where are you going with that one?
I don't think so. I think those people, I know, there's a few people I know like that. And every time you kind of go, well, I don't need to know about that. And they go, yeah, well, you're just shut off. And you're like, no. Do you know what? I'm not shut off. It's just that it's just not for me.
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
And that's actually okay. And that's actually okay. So, there's definitely a potential... Obviously, fascism is a strong word, and I wouldn't use it, but there's something there where, where you feel like you have to be more open and you have to be more kind of, be kind. Be kind!
Be kind, you wanker!
Get that emblazoned on the side of an AK-47.
Yeah, be kind. Shit bag. There is an aggression.
Myself already. I probably have, haven't I?
No, it's fine. There is an aggression to all that, isn't there? There's a kind of
It can be.
Yeah, some of the people that feel they're on the right side of things. Sometimes you're like, you need to take it down a few notches as well.
It's an interesting area, isn't it? It's an interesting area, but I'm sure we can both agree on just stop killing people. That's easy, isn't it?
Yeah,
stop doing that, please. That'll do. Thank you.
It's funny saying that. There was someone I looked at Sarah Silverman's social media the other day, and there was the I don't know what it's Supreme Court or whatever it was talking. This guy that wants to bring in these laws, basically telling women that they can't have abortions, and she was going through it. And she was going, so if I bring this in, if we say yes to this, you're telling me that you want women, if they've been sexually assaulted, they still have to go through with the pregnancy. If they're ill, they still have to go through with the pregnancy. This guy was going, as the law stands, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what kind of a dude are you that goes, this is what should be happening?
Yeah. That's insanity, isn't it? The whole, my body, your body, my choice.
Oh, yeah, that bullshit. Just, I know. And I stand there as a man and go, what did you do? Why did you wake up in the morning and go, this is what should be happening? Like, what is wrong with you?
I know. And it's, how far back does it go? Where is this coming from? Where is this, is this individual issues in lots of different people? Where has this come from? But, there's a big incel movement happening, isn't there? That's alive and kicking and quite terrifying, actually. Talking about social media again and milking people for data, it is also an absolute platform for hatred, isn't it? And unfortunately, shit floats. It does.
Well, it's funny enough. I saw. Now we've all moved over to Blue Sky, and funny enough, Robin Ince. I saw a post he put up the other day, and he just said, some people." Basically, he obviously had some shitty comments on there. Anyway, well, I'm just going to block everyone again. It's that easy. And you're like, Christ, we've only just got on here. And people are already posting shit.
Yeah. People are already jumping on.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Robin. You go, how can you... Robin is not... there's nothing offensive about him. He's just a lovely dude.
He really is. Yeah. It's like kicking a puppy, isn't it? What the hell are people like? I know. I mean, I think, Robin ultimately got sort of bullied off Twitter by he who shall not be named.
Oh, yeah,
sitcom writer from Ireland. And this is the trouble. All of these places aren't particularly policed, are they? They're not. It's the bloody Wild West out there. So, yeah, you say the wrong thing or not the wrong thing these days. You say the right thing, you know, you say something really positive and supportive of a certain faction. And, yeah, if you've got enough of a public profile, you're potentially leaving yourself open to really horrendous pylons and bullying. I mean, luckily, I'm still relatively... I'm a nobody. I'm waiting for my... Will no one pile on me? Hello?
Can I have a pile on, please? All press is good press.
Just talk up.
Just, you want to say something to the he who shall not be named and see what happens there. You'll get a pile on then.
God, yeah, no. I mean, joking aside, it is absolutely, it's not cool. And that, I mean, you know, joking about stalking as well. I mean, that is the other potential danger, isn't it, of having, you know, a public persona and putting yourself out there in the world. You are potentially leaving yourself open for all sorts of nonsense. Well, it's
funny you say that. I didn't realise how different it was for men. And I know this sounds really basic and obvious, and I'd mentioned this on here before. A couple of years ago, I was living in East London, and I went out for a walk around the Olympic Park, and it was about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and it was dark. And I did a bit of a video going, I'm just out for a walk. I fancy clearing my head and having a wander. And then I put the video up, and then a woman underneath just said, wouldn't it be lovely if a woman could do that as well? Yeah. And I went, oh shit, yeah. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah. And on that, you know,
exactly. It's something that you just totally take for granted. In fact, me and Robin were having a conversation very similar to that, you know, and he talked about writing in pubs and going in and sitting in a quiet corner and having a nice glass of wine and doing a bit of writing. And I just said, there's literally no way. I could just not do that, walk into a pub on my own. I genuinely wouldn't dream of it. Oh, definitely. You just get completely hassled. And I saw him have the same sort of reaction to what you've just said, that kind of, blimey, that's never even occurred to me. No. That's just this everyday privilege that you just take for granted as a chap, you know, that you're probably not going to get the same kind of hassle as a woman. And yeah, it is a frightening thing. It's a frightening thing. I mean, one of the things I'm simultaneously enjoying and not enjoying, it's a really odd thing about getting older, is becoming slightly more invisible as a woman. Right. Because the hassle is getting less. But then there's also that feeling that age is your kryptonite and you're sort of losing something that helps as well. It's a really odd thing. I'm definitely in that place at the moment where I could, you know, I could go Madonna and start getting loads of shit pumped into my face and come out looking like the alien on the Space Invaders crisp packet. I could go that way, Rich. Still got it.
I'm 85. I've still got it.
Still got it, mate. Oh, exactly. My fanny lips are like slapping between my knees, but I've still got it.
Look at my lovely face.
Or I just completely sack it all off totally and just become, you know, the swamp hag that I was always destined to be, and not give a damn. I'm definitely there. I'm at that point.
I think I think a lot of it is not down to looks. I think men are they're scared of older women because there's because I think older women are more likely to take a fuck off. They feel. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There's more of a
There's more of a gravitas there, isn't there?
They'll see as a younger, an older woman. She's been, you know, she's learned a few things. She knows she's been around the world. She knows stuff, seen some things, but and she's dealt with your kind before, knobhead. And whereas
the vagina monologues, tell you what, if any other lips could talk.
Back in my day. But I think whereas men see younger women as a bit more vulnerable and a bit more...
Oh, that's horrible, isn't it?
It is horrible. It is horrible.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
So maybe I might be wrong. I might be completely off mark.
Do you know what? I'm sure that, it's not it's not all men, is it?
No.
We can say that it isn't all men, but I'm sure that applies to some men. Yeah, that younger women are just seen as more vulnerable and easier to manipulate, easier to deal with, etc., etc.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, like you say, it's not all men. No. But it's enough to be an issue.
Yeah.
And now, like we said earlier about these people in positions of power, actually trying to make changes where women have less of a voice than they've already got. And
oh my God! Well, once it's gone to actual sort of policy changes in law, then it's just actually terrifying. No, we are living in terrifying times, for sure. For sure we are. And it's, it's I don't know how you stay sane, Rich, or, deal with it, the state of the world at the moment. I don't know. I'm not sure how I deal with it. I definitely wake up at, 3:00 in the morning sometimes with the morbs, with the dreads.
Well, this is it. I mean, even though all these things are happening, like people go, obviously in America, doesn't it? But as a woman, when you see all these things, because as we've already said, I come from a place of, male privilege. So I see these things and go, well, that's fucking bullshit. And that's as far as it'll go. Yeah. Whereas as a woman, when you're looking at what goes through your head, we go, is it like, sort of, oh shit, if that's happening there, how long till it's happening?
Well, these things filter down, don't they? And that's part of the problem. These things are not in isolation. And when you've got people in power, they become the poster boys or the poster force to give permission for everybody else to kind of have these feelings and feel okay with it. And I suppose, the thing to do is to just keep talking about it and just keep talking about how it's not okay and giving voice to another way of being. And we just have to keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that. That's it. That's it. Just keep fighting the good fight, don't you? And I suppose there's a bit of me genuinely that sometimes wrestles with even being a comedian and an artist. You just think, crikey, should I not just be out on the absolute front line, being a politician and really seriously talking about these things? But actually, I think that the role of the artist and the comedian in these things actually is extraordinarily important. Like that line in Dune, the slow blade penetrates the shield. I think that art and comedy are kind of the equivalent to the slow blade there. They, they are these vehicles that can carry these really heavy, important issues and kind of get it into people's subconscious without people necessarily even realizing what's happening.
Definitely.
And that's a really amazing thing about art, comedy, the creative world. That there is a subconscious language that people aren't necessarily even aware that they're absorbing. Just fight the good fight, isn't it?
Well, it makes it, like you say, it's more palatable. Because if you, like when you watch, politicians and you watch some people, I know that a lot of men would feel not threatened, but they kind of go, well, why are you telling me what to do? Whereas a lot of the stuff I've learned everything I know through comedy, music, mostly music.
Really, that's interesting.
When you're, growing up, I was really lucky to have parents that were into lots of different music. So I grew up with all these different things, and you kind of go, well, what is Marvin Gaye singing about? What does that mean? And that's how you find out. Oh, that's what that's about. Oh shit, I didn't realise. And it kind of goes in that way. And I think a lot of it comes down to the parenting as well. I know that's an easy thing to say, but just talking to your kids,
absolutely,
like with
absolutely.
my even now, my older lads, I might say something joking, and they're like, "Oh, Dad, easy. You can't say that."
Do they call you out? My kids call me out.
Yeah.
My kids call me out. Yeah, things that I wouldn't have necessarily considered. Not okay. My kids will say, "You can't say that. You can't say that. You can't do that." I'm like, blimey! You suddenly sound like an old white man.
Start taking the brown makeup off my face. Oh, well, I thought you could do this. For fuck's sake.
What do you
What? It's just makeup. But it's all part of Christmas.
It's been a long tradition in our family. We don't have Santa Claus. We have B.A. Barackas breaking in the front door saying, "I pity the fool."
Yeah.
Leaving the presents and then rolling on out.
Just kicking the tree over.
That's right. Oh, do you know what? My son wanted to be B.A. Barackas, actually, years ago. I was lucky enough to have an art exhibition in LA. Hello,
mate.
Yeah, hello.
Clang.
We paid for it all and got into terrible debt. There's a whole other backstory that's really not quite so exciting and glamorous. But I did get an art exhibition in LA probably in about 2014, 15, it's quite a few years ago now. But anyway, we went out and we happened to be there for Halloween. And, wow, can you imagine what Halloween is like in Hollywood?
Yeah.
It is just amazing. And my lad, who was 6 at the time, wanted to be BA, but he wanted to be a zombie BA. So it wasn't even so much blackface, it was kind of green facing up.
Oh, yeah.
So he literally shaved the mohawk, got a little pair of dungarees, denim dungarees, put some like gold Christmas beads around his neck as gold chains, greened him up, and then he had a massive tantrum before going out. So there was never any photographic evidence. Thank God. So don't tell anyone, Rich. Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone. I remember I said this the other day, actually. I was talking to someone. We did a play at school in this. This would have been late 70s, early 80s. So I was only little. And it was the story of Admiral Nelson. And there was a bit where he goes to an island. And this is where, in schools where they give a part to, or they try and give a part to everybody.
You get to be the part of grass.
Yeah. We were sugarcane cutters.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
On an island, and they yeah, full on.
The full.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was, and yeah, I remember this song. I won't sing it now.
Different times, love, different times.
It was. I'm glad there were there's no recordings of it. There's no photographs of it.
Thank God.
Just every now and again, the song pops into my head. And I'm like, I can't believe we sang. Yeah. It was exactly how you imagine it.
It was as bad.
It was as bad as you're imagining it. And yeah.
Shocking.
Good.
Well, but thank God things have changed, isn't it? Thank God.
Yeah.
That things are constantly evolving and constantly in a state of flux. And, I think that's the way to sort of stay sane through all of this right-wing madness that's happening in the world, is just to remember that, there is an alternative force at play that's kind of pulling things in a much more groovy direction, and that's cool.
That's exactly it. Cool. I think that's what you need to focus on.
Definitely.
That's why I've stopped looking at the news now, because I can't. The feelings of despair and feeling that you just feel so powerless. You're just looking at it and you're like, well, what am I meant to do? And people go, oh, you've got to sign petitions and you've got to rise up and say stuff. Go, but what? But everywhere's fucked. So what bit am I supposed to stand up and be a part of?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you just have to kind of take a step back and look after around you and be decent and try and, it was another comedian at a gig, and I'd said I've stopped watching the news, and they were quite annoyed at me, and they were like, no, you have to be aware of what's going on.
Did you get the kind of the least you can do is bear witness to it sort of speech? Yeah. You can sign stuff, you can write letters, you can do that, and you're like, yeah, I can, but I've also got to take care of the family, and I've got to keep the food on the table, and I've got to keep this and that going, and where does it end? You have to be able to continue to function in the world as well. I think, what I found, particularly with seeing some of the really horrific abominations that are happening, in parts of the world that are war-torn. I'm not even exaggerating when I say I was starting to get a kind of PTSD reaction to seeing some of the horrific stuff, because I'd kind of told myself the least you can do is witness it. And actually, do you know what? I've seen some things that are so horrific, and actually I don't want to become desensitized to it either. No. I don't want that to happen. That's even worse in a way, where it just becomes normal and you don't even care anymore because you're seeing so much of it. But no, it's doing the opposite. I was just stopping sleeping. I was literally stopping sleeping and just kind of going a bit mad. And that feeling of despair and powerlessness and empathizing, like violently empathizing with parents losing their kids. It's just so much. You cease to be able to function normally in the world. Yeah. And that's a really, really tricky balance, isn't it? The way that I'm working that is just, if I'm asked to do benefit gigs, I'll do them, I'll do them. And if I'm asked to sort of, volunteer for, not volunteer, give art prints and things like that to auctions, then I'll always do it. And, so I will help, but I can't, I just can't. I can't keep looking at stuff all day, every day. It is actually too horrific. Yeah. And I don't think that necessarily helps anybody if you're crippled with trauma and you can't function. So it's difficult, isn't it? It's very difficult to know how to cope with it and deal with it properly. And hats off to people who are dedicating their lives, to dealing with this stuff, people who are literally going in and mopping up the blood, my God. Thank you. Amazing human beings.
There was I saw one thing in particular, I won't say what it was, and it just, I think about it every day, and I'm like, at no point should a kid have to go through that. And you're just looking, and then you look at my little one and my other boys, and you're just going, there's no way I'd want them to go through something like that. And it, it's just too much. It's just too much.
It is, isn't it, darling? It's too much. It is. But you got to laugh, Rich.
That's why we do what we do. Because then that's it.
Hell in the handcuff. Hey, come on. We got any married couples in?
Hey. You got a job? What's your job? That's a shit job. Anyway.
Oh my God. Crowd work. Do you know what? I'm rubbish at it. I'll tell you what I'm rubbish at with crowd is being horrible to people. I'm just really nice. I can't do the whole jipping people and taking the piss. I'm absolutely rubbish at it. So I'm like, hello, how are you doing? You couple? Oh, that's nice. What do you do for a living? You're a doctor? That's lovely. You must have trained for it. And then before I know, I'm just having a nice conversation. It's like, I was supposed to say something witty and cutting. I'm useless at it.
I quite like it. I do take the piss a bit. I think you can do it. I'm quite cheeky with it, I think.
Oh, so are you good? Because there's definitely an art, isn't there, to doing it, to a point where it's funny and it's lovely and you've got people on your side. It can so easily tip over though, can't it?
Yeah.
It's something really horrible.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think there was a couple of times I went too far. And now I think if I even feel like I probably haven't gone far enough, but I'll always go, I'm only joking. I don't mean it. I think it's a brilliant job. Well done. I do that. Like, apologising.
Have to soften the blow.
Yeah. Or I'll go out in the interval and have a chat with the front row and go, well done everyone, smash that.
Yeah, well you done for being on board.
Yeah, you well done.
Yeah, you dealt with it well.
Well done. Yeah.
I mean, I need to hone it. I need to be a bit more horrible, just so you've got something in the arsenal to deal with hecklers as well. Do you ever get heckled, Rich? Ever happened to you? Have you ever been properly heckled?
Sometimes. It doesn't happen very often. The best one. I quite like it when people heckle. If it's funny.
For you.
But the best one was recently. I did a kids gig, comedy club for kids. It was in Chelmsford. And and they were feral. They were literally every single one of them was shouting something out. And with kids, you can't steam in and go, oh,
You
yeah.
can't take him to pieces, can
Fuck
you?
your mum. Like,
You're the only coming to nothing in life.
Yeah. You're going nowhere. I had sex with your mum. What? Mum's here.
Yeah.
All right.
Your mum's so fat. Yeah.
Yeah. Because every time I see your mum, what, mum? Do you know him? So it was all going off. It was all kicking off. And this one kid just shouts out, "You look like a potato." And so I went, so I'm bouncing around, I'm fielding all these things. And I went, oh yeah, what kind of a potato am I? And this other kid went, roasted.
No way, that's really good.
And I don't think he realised what he'd said.
Right,
accidentally.
I think he just really clever.
It was accidentally brilliant. And I had to I sat on the edge of the stage. I went, you have no idea how brilliant that was, mate. And everyone laughed. At the same time, we're like, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know how to deal with it. And that's...
Do you know what, mate? I'm out.
I'm
out.
Have
the mic. I'm off.
Fuck yous. Here's your next act.
On with the gig.
Yeah.
No, that's brilliant, my God.
It was good.
Yeah, that's very good. I've done a few festival comedy tents where there's basically no real sort of comedy audience in. It's just like people's kids, couple of people practicing hula hoop in the back, someone getting off with someone in the corner, someone having a bad acid trip.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. Trying to entertain the front row of feral hippie kids.
I do remember I did what's his name? Alex James's festival, from Blur.
Oh, the Cheese Man. Yeah.
I did that. Wow. We were doing the comedy tent with the kids, and I talked about my dad's van when I was a kid. That was what we used to drive around in. Didn't have any seats in the back of it. And I told this story, and then I went to the kids. I went, "Who's been in the back of a van?" And I heard and then I heard the sound man go, "Ha!" Yeah. I went, oh my God, that's.
Would you like to show us on the doll where the nasty comedian touched you? Oh my God!
Yeah, that was a good
classic. One. That's classic. Who's been in the back of a van?
Oh God!
Oh my God!
You're doing. I mean, I like to have a Google of the guests and see what's going on. So we got.
I'm all over it like a
doing everything. Poet, sculptor. You're a comedian, MC. You're doing it all. I mean, where did it all start? Let's talk about that. Where did it all start?
Yeah, where did it all start? So, I mean, being a visual artist, that basically I never wasn't. Genuinely, I was forever drawing, playing with plasticine, sculpting. Art was just happening to me as a child. In fact, my parents took me to see a child psychologist when I was about 9 because I was constantly staying up all night doing these little characters, drawing all the time. They got really worried about it. I probably would have been diagnosed now with, ADHD and all of it.
Yeah.
At the time, it was like, don't worry about it. She's just highly creative. So the visual arts has never really stopped. And I kind of went into, I went down that road educationally. So, I did a degree in sculpture. And then performance stuff, that kind of started with performance poetry more than stand-up comedy. And at that time, it was very much a different thing. Yeah. And I would say it still is a different field, although I think there are more and more performers now who bridge the kind of gap and do both. They do poetry and comedy. Your Rob Ortons, Robin Ince, definitely to a certain degree. Even John Cooper Clarke, a lot of the show is stand-up comedy as well as the poetry. So there are people bridging that gap. But yeah, it was poetry for me. In fact, I just had my eldest child. This is how I got into performance poetry. I just had my eldest child, and I was at like a parent toddler group kind of a thing, and this lady came in, very nice lady from Carmarthen County Council outreach thing, and was asking mums if they wanted to sort of join in with these workshops that she had on offer. Do you want to come and do yogurt weaving? You must be really bored being off. It was that kind of thing. And she was offering all these things. And I was sort of chatting about stuff. And I kind of just said we literally just got talking, and I said, I like creative writing. I've kind of always written a little bit of poetry, never taken it particularly seriously. And she just said, oh, do you know what? Actually, we need somebody to teach creative writing.
Right.
Would you be up for it? And I was kind of floating around a little bit. I just had the kid, and I was like, yeah, do you know what? Earn a few extra pounds. That could be a cool thing to get into. And I started teaching adults creative writing just at this sort of night class. And a couple of them were really keen poets and had got this organisation together where they were putting on like poetry slams and kind of poetry events, and they'd have a sort of guest poet in, blah, blah, blah. And I just got involved with that off the back of it. I got invited to do a slam, which is, for people who don't know, it's basically a poetry roast battle. I mean, there's no other way of it's a roast.
Yeah, I used to do one stand up and slam, which was comedians versus poets.
I've done that in Edinburgh, stand up and slam. Yeah, I was on the side of the poets. I was beaten fair and square by Alistair Beckett King.
Oh wow.
Who he's so funny, isn't he? I felt like at least I was beaten by a good one. Do you know what I mean? Fair play to him. He's so funny. Yeah. So it's but there's some crossovers, and anyway, I started doing these slams. I really enjoyed it, and I just found that what I most enjoyed was making people laugh. And someone came up to me at the end of a slam and said, you should do stand-up comedy. Right. I thought, I shouldn't I? I should do stand-up comedy. Ooh, yeah, go on then. With no idea of kind of how to get into it or how to start. And he just told me about a little club that was happening in Cardiff, the Drones Comedy Club, and that they'll let you do, new material, brand new material. And so, I just put 5 minutes together. Solid five. Together a solid 5. Went in, did my very first gig, which went sort of miraculously well, like so well.
Yeah.
That I came away from it just thinking, God, this is easy. I don't know what people complain about.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy being difficult. Obviously then I think it was about 3 gigs in where I had my worst ever, and it still counts as like my worst ever performance experience.
Standard,
as it happens. But so that the stand-up comedy was kind of then happening as this parallel thing to stand-up poetry. And probably the biggest break I got in the early days was meeting Phil Jupitus.
Oh, nice.
If there's anyone really young watching, they really might not have heard of him. But, for us, he was one of the legends, wasn't he, Phil?
Yeah, still is, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I met Phil at a literature festival that happens just down the road from me. The Larne weekend, we just got on like a house on fire. And he said, do you want to come and support me in my guise as Porky the Poet? Because he is also a stand-up poet as well as a comedian and a visual artist, actually. Phil does lots of things. Obviously, I was like, well, I'll just have to check my busy schedule. Phil, I'm not sure I can fit you in. Yes! Of course I bloody do! So I kind of went from, Carmarthen Library back room to supporting Phil Jupitus at the Jam House in Edinburgh in, one foul swoop. It was just a bizarrely lucky break really early on. And once that happened, bloody hell, it really was this golden ticket. As soon as I could kind of say that I'd supported Phil and I had this lovely quote from him, I was just getting invites all over the place to go and headline poetry nights more than comedy. So it really helped the sort of poetry. And poets tend to be, I will say this, it is true, I'm going to stick to my guns here. People can complain all that bloody like. Poets tend to just be a little bit less cutthroat in my experience. Comedians, there's a lot of cutthroatery in stand-up comedy.
Oh yes.
I think there really is. There's a lot of very hungry people in stand-up comedy, aren't there? There just are. Not quite so much in poetry. It tends to be your more sort of sensitive neurodiverse types who all just want to be friends. Not saying all comedians are like that. I've got some brilliant comedy pals, of course, but I think in general there tends to be this feeling that you're you find your crowd, don't you, in the comedy world? You find your ones that you love, but it's definitely not everyone, is it? Some people just... I'm not going to start naming names, but you've been doing it for a long time. You know what it's like.
I think a lot of us have the same names.
I'm sure we do. And the whole green room experiences of people just constantly name dropping, and I've done this and I've done that and I've done this and what have you done? It's like, oh my God, hello, I was just hoping we could have a nice little chat about, the weather. But yeah. So I've always found poetry a more kind of nurturing and easier sort of space. And I think just naturally, as the years have gone by, those two rivers, those two tributaries have kind of come together and just formed this thing that is me as a poet and comedian. I don't tend to separate the two anymore, so when I perform, you're going to get poetry and you're going to get comedy.
Nice.
And I really like that. And I think what I love about that is that, as a poet, you're not necessarily under the tyranny of a punchline. You can bring in pathos and sadness. You can bring in other things and take people in different directions, and I just find that so much more fascinating, actually. You can open people up in different ways, and I love that. I find that just more interesting.
Yes,
it's great if you can make people laugh and cry in the same gig.
I find that as I've got more into this, I think I was getting into all the clubs, and then I just had a moment where there was one particular chain of clubs I was doing all the time because, the money was good. And I just had a moment, I'm like, I don't want to be this kind of comedian. I want to do something else. And I remember going off and doing some of the smaller places, like the little weird and wonderful rooms.
Yeah.
Where you find more unusual acts. And I remember some of the other comics, they were going, well, why are you doing that? I'm like, because it's more interesting.
Exactly.
So I go, but it's only 50 quid on a Saturday. You go, but look who I'm on with.
Exactly.
And that's far more interesting to me than actually going out and shouting at a load of stags. So I'm going to do that.
Exactly. And it's, blimey, and you've said it, therein often lies the rub for many creative people, that we are all at the mercy of the pound. And, a lot of us will have to kind of sell out to a certain degree. But if you find yourself in a position to be able to do things that are more artistically interesting, then, bloody well jump on it, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And as you said earlier, there is, sometimes you go, is this really important? What I'm doing, it's not a proper job, it's not this, it's not that, but as you said earlier, as we talked about, it is people need that escape.
Absolutely. They need the escape, and they need it definitely as a vehicle to hear anti-incel ideals, left-wing ideals. It needs to kind of get through to people in that way, and it's wielding heavy issues with a light touch, and I think it is super valuable and super important, and being made to laugh it's got to be the best medicine, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Ultimately.
And I think some of the best comedians I've seen are the ones that are on the edge of it all, looking into the political wasteland and the whole system, just the whole thing is a mess, left, right, up, down. It's chaos at the minute, and
it is.
And we
chaos
should be able to,
right.
looking at it, going, the whole thing's fucked, and this is why South Park was so successful, because they took the piss out of everybody.
They took the piss out of everyone. Funnily enough, I made my very good friend laugh so much the other day when he was doing the washing up that he started farting, and he couldn't stop farting, and his fart came out like a laugh. It went. Because I was doing my Cartman impression. Oh.
Hey, Mum, you tell me if you're ever in a German Shazzy movie, right, Mum?
Careful, you'll set producer Paul off.
Oh, will I?
He'll be fine.
Oh, Cartman's just, I love him. I love him. He's like he is an absolute cultural hero. And you're right, nobody was immune to having the absolute piss taken out of them. It was everybody, wasn't it? And, and in that sense, it created a kind of even playing field, really. Yeah. Oh, I love them. They're just superb. There's whole groups, there literally are mums against South Park, groups on Facebook. Yeah, I came across that quite a few years ago. Like I think they literally kind of take the piss out of exactly that in the movie, don't they? Mums against swearing.
Gratuitous violence and sex is absolutely.
Well, I think there's the people that advocate all that. They're normally the worst offenders. Like, when you really get into it and you go, you like being hit with
discover that they like
welly.
being rogered with a bloody cucumber up the orifice whilst being blasphemed at. Yeah, exactly. It's often the case, isn't it? Often the case that the people who are most uptight about things actually have got the biggest skeletons in the closet.
Yeah.
Skeletons that are wearing a lot of S&M gear.
Yeah, it's always really weird stuff.
Exactly. Something really specific and really fucking weird.
Peanut butter where? What? Okay. All right. No. You carry on, Janice. It's you do you, babe. You do you.
Exactly. And if at the point of climax you could just say, "Not now, mother," I'll give you an extra £50. Thank you.
And then smack me with an oven glove. That would be wonderful.
You always wear a silly boy.
To your room. Oh God. Oh, mother. Oh dear.
Oh Lord.
But you're let's get to. So you're going on tour. You've just done some stuff with Robin Ince.
I have, which was brilliant. He is an absolutely lovely human being and so well read and so interesting. We really did have a really blooming good time together.
This is what I love about Robin, is that yes, he's an intellectual fella. He's super intelligent, but when you talk to him, he doesn't talk to you in a patronising. He just talks to you. Talks to you like you're completely like. He doesn't even go. Or he doesn't explain stuff. He just tells you stuff. And just assumes that you've read it or you know about it, and you go, "Yeah, brilliant. This is actually."
And he's keen to share it. It never makes you feel patronised. Yeah, absolutely. No. And he does loads of impressions. He's a really good impressionist. Honestly, he's excellent. Yeah, he does all the Brians. Obviously, that one does that Brian really well. But yeah, it'll do Brian Sewell, Brian Cox, and a brilliant Brian Blessed. But he's a really good impressionist. He does loads of old like Hammer Horror stars, Christopher Lee, Vincent Price. He's got them all absolutely.
Oh, I need to get him to do
that.
He's
superb. And I tried to show off during one of our gigs because I said I could do David Attenborough, and it went horribly wrong, and I literally sounded like I was starting to have an asthma attack. Oh, it was so embarrassing. Oh, it really was. It's like, and it's not worked. Oh.
I've gone too high. I'm too high.
Doctor in the house. Dr. John Cooper Clark. Everybody. Well, at least he just needs me to do evidently Chicken Town.
But that's one of the things as well. I did a gig with him. It was Comedy Arcade, like a panel show. And
what, with Clarky, with John Cooper Clark?
No, we did it. I did it with Robin. Yeah, Vic Slayton's show, and making Robin laugh is one of the highlights of my career.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, it is. When you make one of your comedy heroes laugh, it's a beautiful feeling, isn't it?
Nice moment.
It is. Yeah, it is. I concur. Gosh, what's his name? I feel really terrible. The guy that does Jonathan Pye. What's his actual name?
Tom.
Tom something. Yes.
Yeah.
His real name. That's really left. I want to say Tom Wilson, but that's you. You're Rich Wilson, aren't you?
But it's something
really
like that, yeah. Tom Wilkinson.
Sorry, my patch has run out.
What?
My brain's not working. Menopausal brain. I made him really laugh. At a gig, and that was a beautiful, beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Had this really nice, warm feeling of I am somebody.
It's nice, isn't it? Just that little bit. I remember, I did it with Alexis Sale. And I made him laugh, and I went, that'll do. And I was with Phil Ellis at the time, and Phil Ellis even said, it was really funny, Rich, because you were doing your thing, Alexi laughed, and then you could see your eyes go, right, I'm out, because you didn't want to fuck it up.
Just kill me now, because I feel like I've peaked.
Just like,
any more, it's going to be downhill.
And I was like, and I'm gone. Just gone. Yeah.
Like Kaiser Soze, I was there.
I was not even here.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, so what am I doing? I am
Arthur
got
Smith,
a lovely gig coming up in December.
Lovely.
Mid-December, I'm going to be at King's Place doing some giggery there. That'll be wonderful.
Lovely.
And I won't reveal too much about that because there's some very special guests. I'm very excited about it. And
where can we get tickets for that?
Tickets for that will be via Robin Ince, actually. Cosmic Shambles. Yep, that's through the Cosmic Shambles network. And I think they have got a completely separate sort of, social media presence, Cosmic Shambles. So yeah, definitely people can jump on board that. And there's some amazing people on the bill. That'll be a really exciting gig. And then next year, when's it actually kicking off? Most of March. So very end of February, most of March, and then just into April, I'm on tour with Arthur Smith. That was awful. Yeah. Sorry, I just got a frog in my throat.
He sounded more like the dog from Vic and Bob.
Oh, it did, didn't it?
Yeah,
That's who I was trying to be.
Oh, my wife's going to kill me.
My wife's going to kill me. Arthur Smith. Brilliant, legendary Arthur Smith.
Love Arthur Smith.
I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be fantastic. And we're literally gigging all over the place. So, yeah, please jump on board and get your tickets soon so that I'm not shitting myself between now and then that nobody's coming. Oh, it's terrible putting on gigs these days, getting bums on seats. Horrible.
But they'll be there.
Thank you, all 6 of you, for coming. Thank you so much.
Shall I take your coat? Can I take your coat?
Yeah, exactly. What's everybody called? We might as well be on first name basis.
In fact, fuck this. Yeah. Come through to the green room. We'll do it in there. Would you like tea?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, could we just go to the pub, please? So tickets for that available. Hopefully there'll be a link somewhere.
Yeah, we'll link it to this
we'll
as
link
well.
All to that. Yeah, the easiest place is Edge Street Live, my agency. They've got all the tickets there available for that. So that's happening. Also, some interesting movie news happening next year. I'm a big folk horror, sort of B-movie horror fan. Massive lover of that ever since me, early kind of 80s VHS horror collection as a kid. So there's some exciting and interesting plans afoot with all of that. And I've written a few kind of short horror stories. Brilliant. Which are, it's looking like they might be getting turned into scripts.
Mate.
You never know. A lot can happen between idea and green light, as we know, but steps have been taken. Let's just say that.
Hello, mate.
Yeah.
I love a B movie. I do another podcast.
Yeah. Me too.
I do a podcast with my mate Wellesley called "But Please Don't Panic," which is a line from Jaws, and we talk about Sharknado and the Winnie the Pooh horror films and all that. It's just, I love all that.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. Well, do you know what? I was at Aberystwyth horror film festival actually just like a couple of weekends ago called Abattoir. Hello,
hello, mate. Hello.
Hello. And we went to see, what's it called? I think Shark Attack 3, possibly one of the worst films that's ever been made, starring John Barrowman.
Yes, mate.
It's so bad. It's brilliant. It's just beyond belief hilarious. But we watched it with a running commentary from Robin, And this other lady whose name I can't remember, that's terrible. It was so funny watching it with this running commentary of how brilliantly bad it was, to the point where I thought this is something that needs to be done more, where we put films out and we're just laughing about them as we go through.
Yes.
It's such rich golden seam of comedy potential. Great. Yeah, no, horror movies are brilliant, aren't they?
The best ones are when they've got a star from an American star from way back when.
Yes.
Like there's a guy called Greg Effigan, I think it was called. He was in BJ and the Bear, and he was in one. And then you go, oh, that guy was in Chips. And and it's those ones are the best.
Yeah, where they've dug out somebody from someone whose career fell on its face like 30 years ago. God, I've had the call. I've had the call. Jesus Christ!
I told you.
I thought my agent had died. Yeah, they did. They did.
I've had nothing since the Rockford Files.
Yeah, isn't it? Oh my God, I've had nothing since that Hershey's advert.
Oh, mate. This has been brilliant, Claire. Thank you so much, mate.
No worries, my darling. Oh, God, I completely forgot as well. Yeah, look, this is an example of my sculpture. It's John Cooper Clarke.
I love them.
Little mini John Cooper Clarke. And, so that's one of the things I do. I'll just put it there to plug away. Oh, with that single airbrush, it tickles. That's what I do when I paint them. I do an impression of him all the way through. And for Christmas prezzies, if anybody wants a copy of Chitty Chili Arse Bang,
nice.
Literary Behemoth, it's basically like an 8-page joke, but it's been illustrated by the brilliant Martin Rosen, Guardian cartoonist.
Fantastic.
And it's worth it for the cartoons alone. And that's available from my little miniature merch shop, virtual shop. So I'll send you 25 links.
Yes, please. Send all the links. Where can we find you on the socials?
Find me on the socials. I'm all over it like a rash. Yeah, just search Clare Ferguson-Walker on Facebook. I think on Instagram I'm the art of Clare Ferguson-Walker.
Yes.
Like I am just an art. The art. The art.
You're an enigma. You are
an enigma.
Yes, a vibe, a feeling.
Yeah, I am. I can't even... Yeah, what is it Sean Locke says? I'm a concept. Like a smell. What was it? It's got hot tarmac and a vet's flannel.
What a way to finish.
Oh, I know. Superb. Right, my darling. Thank you
very
so much. Lovely
to
chat to you.
It's been lovely. Thank you. This has been Insane in the Membrane. This has been Clare Ferguson-Walker. I've been Rich Wilson, and we'll see you next time.